Disordered eating messaging is all around us. You can hardly leave your house or check your phone without seeing something about dieting, weight loss, or exercise. With all that pressure, it can be hard to recognize habits have become harmful or even an eating disorder. If you're concerned you or a loved one might have an eating disorder, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors, and you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
Do you keep hearing podcast ads, like this one, for example, but always wonder how you actually get involved with them for your own brand or organization? Well, it's easier than you think. We're Acast, and we give you the platform to do it all yourself. Browse thousands of popular podcasts, choose the shows that match your perfect audience, set your budget, and launch. And if you want a hand, our podcast specialists are there to help you launch with confidence. This is podcast advertising without barriers. Get started at acast.com/advertise.
This series is sponsored by Books at One, a social enterprise dedicated to transforming bookshops into community hubs that promote literacy nationwide. Welcome to Aran Island This, a podcast series where we talk to Irish people from different walks of life as they reflect on their own journeys. Join me, Russell McDermott, as we explore the many aspects of Irishness and what it means to each of our guests through life's ups and downs. Richard Fitzpatrick, welcome to Aran Island This.
Thanks a million for having me on.
Now, the first trick question we have is, have you been to the islands and which one?
I have, of course, Russell. I'm a Banner man. I'm from County Clare originally. Grew up in Ennis and spent all my summer holidays in Lahinch and still go back to Lahinch. So I've taken the ferry from Doolin out to Inisheer many times. I've been in Inisheer or Inishmore once, I think only, but Inisheer many times. I actually went to Inisheer for my stag party. So yeah.
Were the guards called?
No, yeah, as you know, I'm sure there's no guards on the island, so you have to phone them in. They send troublemakers down to the pier and make them wait there for the guards to arrive at 8 a.m. It's self-policing on the island, you know. But it's a different world. And my wife is Venezuelan, and we went out there, brought her out there about maybe 10 years ago, I suppose, with our youngest at the time. She was about 2, Chloe, and she just adored it, like, because it's like stepping back in time. In Inisheer, you've got the 3 pubs or the few pubs, and you know, going around there on bicycle or donkey and cart. It's just a different world. Yeah, it's a magical place.
And where's she from, Venezuela?
She's from Caracas.
Right. So it's a big change. Yeah. Step down to...
Yeah. She obviously, Venezuela is very diverse. You've got the Amazon and stuff like so. You've very rural parts, but my gosh, South America, Venezuela is just a different world to Ireland and the west of Ireland. You know, different culture. Completely.
So I'm sure you've seen on good days and bad days.
In this year, I've been kind of lucky enough. I don't, because it would usually be I have been out there in the summertime. Yeah. I don't think I've ever actually not been there. It's always the summer, you know. For that stag party I mentioned, we got there was about maybe 10 of us on it, I suppose. We rented a boat. You can hire a boat, and we got it from Liscannor out under the cliffs out to Inisheer for the day. We got to stay in Lahinch for the weekend, but it's spectacular there with the cliffs, you know. Yeah. And it's an amazing part of the world. That drive from along the coast from Liscannor up to Ballyvaugh and around Blackhead, like it's
amazing,
just magical. Yeah.
Did you pop into Egan on your way back?
Egan's, my God, that's one of my favourite pubs in the world. Yeah. Oh gosh, Patrick Egan is a second father to me.
I still remember when Pavarotti the parrot used to see in the front room.
Oh yeah. Go away.
I think eventually, I don't think he's still alive, but there was some good nights when Pavarotti was in full song. Not the real Pavarotti.
Yeah. Needless to add, I think the Beatles the two of the Beatles were back in Ennis Diamond and Liscannor in the mid-60s. They stayed in Dromoland Castle one time. They were trying to escape from somewhere. I think they got back. I'm pretty sure they got back as far as Liscannor. I don't know if they were in McHugh's or which one of the bars, but you'd have to ask the locals. But sitting outside on the flagstone table there outside Egan's in the afternoon with a couple of friends, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, a dream spot. How do you describe yourself, Richard? Are you a journalist, an author, a documentary maker? If I met you in a lift, what would you say you were in a quick sentence?
First and foremost, a journalist. That's what I always would tell people. I've just brought out my third book now, but I don't think of myself as a writer as such. I'm writing non-fiction books, and it's journalism that pays the bills, and make radio documentaries as well. But journalism is the day job, and it's a dream job.
And that's what you always wanted to do.
Not really, no. I kind of fell into it, to be honest, like most people.
Because you did a BA in history in Cork?
Exactly, yeah, history and English literature. And I actually kind of noticed it. A lot of some of my peers, they kind of, they tend not to have come from journalism school like they would do here in Spain. I think of, Sid Lowe did a PhD. He's a football journalist, did a PhD in history. Diego Torres at El País is a lawyer. I think history and law, a lot of kind of journalists come out of those two fields.
I think Sid went to do his MA, or finish his thesis there, and then back was there. Football was in demand. His timing was very precision-oriented. It was bang on.
Yeah. He kind of came over, to do a PhD in. I actually have the book there in my bookshelves on the Civil War, and he parked it. He never finished it. He just got so immersed in. He was there around the time of the Beckham years. He worked as a kind of interpreter for Michael Owen, so it was the Galactico era, and just he returned to the PhD, finished it around 2010 or 2011, and it was published as a book. But I fell into it. I did a master's in history, and then was my very first article. I was living in San Francisco. I used to go out to San Francisco in summers during university, and I was the Irish bar I used to drink in. The owner there is a good family friend. He has been out San Francisco for 45 years. He introduced me to a guy who owned a newspaper, and with a view to getting a job with him selling advertising. And I just spent the night with your man, who's a good friend of mine now, Mark Rutherford. He ended up just getting me to write on the newspaper. So that's kind of how I started. And back then it was kind of a thing of building up your portfolio. You'd, print your articles, and then you could hawk them around to the next employer as a reference point. And then that's how I got my kind of start in journalism. It was by accident, and you kind of learn on the job. I mean, a lot of other peers would have learnt in kind of regional newspapers first of all, and I went on to Toronto then when I finished college, and I stayed there for a couple of years, and I was working in a newspaper. It was an Italian newspaper. Toronto is kind of the biggest expat Italian community outside of Italy in the world. Very Italian type city. So they had a daily Italian newspaper, and once a week they used to publish an English version of the kind of a supplement or a magazine, and I worked on that, and I was writing kind of everything under different bylines, my own.
You had a byline by then.
I had a byline, but it was also Alessio Nuvolari and Gino Tedesco and other reporters of note, just to fill the pages. And so that was a great training, because he got thrown in and I was doing everything like municipal affairs, art stuff, you name it, sport. So that was a great experience, a great grounding. And writing articles is not, I'm a print journalist, essentially, do radio as well, but writing articles, there's a reason the journalists are called hacks. You just, hack, as you know yourself, you just hack the article together with an opening and a few quotes, and substance in the middle, and then it close it out. So that's how I got my start in the game.
Then you went to Edinburgh for further education, did you?
I was there, to do my master's before I went to Toronto.
Right.
So that was, I was doing a master's in history just because I didn't really think about it. I wasn't thinking about doing academia as such. I was more just trying to stretch it out, stay in the university as long as I could, avoid the real world. I hadn't a clue what I wanted to do. But I wouldn't have minded going into academia. I do a bit of lecturing now, and it's a lovely kind of environment. My wife works in a university in student support and doing master's programs and stuff, or Erasmus stuff, So
I talked to Davy Hannigan recently, and he's, in the end, he gives the stability of still right, but obviously he's a professor now in a local New York college, and it gives you a tenure, security, and takes away some of the wolf on the door feeling you have every time you sit down to write a column.
Yeah.
Which keeps you sharp, but at the same time gets tedious.
It's very hard to make a living, I won't lie. As a freelance journalist, I've always been freelance because when I got into it, newspapers were not really hiring staff journalists much anymore. It was just wiser for them not to use freelancers, But it keeps you on your toes. It makes you tough because you're out hunting for work every day, and you can't sit on your. You can't sit back. You need to stay hungry, but you get used to it. And luckily, touch wood, I'm in a sweet spot now for more than 10 years. I'm always turning away work because I'm kind of middle-aged. That's the zone I'm in. I have good contacts, but I don't know how. Like it's a real stamina job. I don't know. In my 60s, I won't have the stamina to keep going at this pace. But hopefully, it'll be easier. The kids will be kind of college age at that stage, and the media's
changed in a way, Richard, because you're not writing every day. You still can do Nixers, radio, different things which can help the paycheck at the end of the month, which didn't exist 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. I mean, it's changed so much.
Yeah. No, you're dead right. Like, and I wouldn't have any fear. Like, I've got good skills. Like, I could turn my hand to many things, like, communication or PR or anything if need be. So you just kind of, like, every year I'm in the game, I go, God, this is fantastic. I'm still managing to make a living out of this because of, decreasing circulation, of newspapers and stuff. There's a lot of worry, like, God, will, all newspapers fold and what have you. But I think the papers are turning a corner. I know the Irish Times now is self-funded, like subscription.
Which surprised me because I was amazed that number would happen first so quickly and that it would happen at all, because you hear people around you saying, I don't subscribe. But more people subscribe than obviously admit, and it's more pervasive than you think.
I know. I was stunned, really heartened, because newspapers to me was my parents' generation, and they were the ones that buy it every day, or they have a few papers between the weekend papers and the local papers, the Clare Champion or what have you. But my peers, nobody buys a print newspaper. I love the print paper. I don't really like reading off the phone, but people just do end up subscribing, and because the Irish Times is an example, that the content is gated effectively. Like, they're only, you get a few free articles a week maybe, but so if you want to keep up to date, you do have to subscribe.
I can tell you that for a fact.
yeah. And it's people, there's a hunger for local news, whether that's local in the Irish terms or just, in the regions. People want to hear stories about their own and from the familiar voices or from voices they recognise. So, as you hinted at, it's evolving all the time, the media landscape. But I think there is a demand for good journalism, and it's so important, obviously, with the
well, at the end of the day, they don't invest in people, so there's not many people around who have that knowledge. So it's getting a smaller market because most copy comes in online, from agencies.
Yeah.
So it gets trickier and trickier to find a good Hugh McIlvanney type writer these days.
Yeah. Like I had noticed, like I don't do match reports now. I used to do them when I first got to Spain, but yeah, they're all just newswire stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but there is in the world of football, like half of my work is in football or soccer, and half in arts and culture and stuff. But in football, there's just huge demand for content, long reads, or just all the stuff that is going on around the sidelines of the game, the corruption. I do focus mainly on corruption and culture stuff, fan stuff. There's just huge demand for content. There's podcasts as well, which weren't there when I first got to Spain, but there's a huge volume of news, talk sports. Sorry, I do a lot of work for them. I mean, they're 24 hours a day sports. So yeah, it's insatiable, the appetite for.
How'd you end up in Barcelona, apart from your domestic partner speak Spanish? Why Barcelona?
Sure, usual story, Ross. I met a girl who is Michelle, my wife now. We met at a wedding. One of her friends was marrying, one of her Venezuelan friends was marrying a friend of mine, a Canadian friend, a friend of mine from Toronto, and we met out in Venezuela. And she, at the time, was coming to Barcelona about 6 months later to do a master's. So we stayed in touch. I was living in Dublin at that time, and we were going backwards and forwards between Dublin and Barcelona for around 6 months or so. And I decided to head out here at that point. That was 2010, I think it was early 2010. So it's worked out well for us. It's a good kind of halfway house because it's it's Spanish speaking. It's in between kind of Venezuela and in Ireland in a way, and it was great for me work wise. But by accident, when I came out here, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was at the back of my mind, I was thinking I'd do a TEFL course and teach English, but I managed to keep it going as a journalist. And as you could probably imagine, that the cost of living here is half of what it is in Dublin. So it's great for me in that sense. My employers are kind of overseas, and we've 2 young kids now, and that's so I can keep going as a journalist and that. And obviously then Spain itself, I just adore the country, adore living here. The weather obviously is helpful,
factor,
but the culture is so interesting here because Barcelona is very,
it's so diverse. The food is so good. Yeah, the 25
food.
Yeah, 3 decades with Spain. I'm in Madrid, which is a different Spain, but it offers so much. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's the diversity as you hint at there. You've got the Catalonia, you've got the Basque country, like San Sebastian's our favourite place in Spain to go. We're going back there again this summer. You've got the south, Andalusia, Galicia. We've actually never been to Galicia yet.
Have we not? Yeah.
No.
Bring a raincoat.
Yeah, I know.
There's a bit Irish up there. It's beautiful. Yeah. You can get the same Irish, but it's a fabulous place.
Oh, I'd say so, yeah. And like the Spanish go on holidays to Galicia,
Yeah, because Madrileños get away from the heat. What Irish people can't understand is Spaniards, apart from Madrid, people go to Andalusia in August. They get out of Madrid heat for the coast. But most people go north to Basque country, Gijón, Oviedo, Galicia, because the heat gets them.
Exactly, yeah.
Irish people think that's mad. 40 degrees is very hot.
Yeah. Oh no, I can understand the reasoning. It's unbearable here. I hate it in the summer, the 2 months, July, August. It's just too much for my pale Irish skin. I'm like a bit of a lobster in the pot at the moment. At this stage, because of 16 years here, I think your body does adjust to it. Or, like when I see Irish friends who come out here in the summer, and I could see them, they're just red in the face because the body isn't used to it,
And how is the whole tourism thing in Barcelona, just to go off piece for a minute?
Yeah.
I was there this time last year and I found it easy. There was some kind of attitude, but once you spoke Spanish fluently, which I did, it calmed down. But there seemed to be a kind of a resistance building up in different places. Tenerife's the same. That tourism is over tourism at the moment.
I think so. If you were talking to my wife now, she'd start spitting and cursing tourists. I don't really see them because I work from home, mostly, the home office, and they're not in my way as such, but she crosses their path going to work. She works down in by Ciudadela. People who know Barcelona would know that, by Arc de Triomphe. So the place, is overrun. Like it's noticeable for me in the 15 or 16 years I've been here. The volume has increased dramatically. I think like on La Rambla, they changed I remember reading a year or two ago, they changed the bins 18 times during the day.
Like on high season, that gets messy down with people and misbehaviour, the usual stuff. It's and so condensed there in Plaza España. It's just not, it's unpleasant.
Yeah. I suppose Irish people, it'd be kind of...
Yeah, novelty, I suppose.
No. I was thinking of Temple Bar, you know.
Yeah.
That concentration and the messy, the drunken behaviour and stuff. But look, it's difficult. You can't have your cake and eat it. It's the motor of the economy. It's at weekends, it's weekend trippers, and then during the week, it's along with Paris and London, it's the key venue for conferences and stuff. So the hotels are full, and all these spin-off. I mentioned I do lecturing in sports and politics to do with the Classico rivalry, and those students are English students coming over from the United States, or English-speaking students from the United States. So, I mean, that's a good mixer for me. I wouldn't do that if it wasn't for just they're coming to Barcelona is such a great and attractive venue. My wife, who again I mentioned, she works in a university which teaches, it's for postgrad students doing kind of international relations, and it's all through English, the lectures, and that's just because Barcelona is such a good, attractive venue for students from around the world.
And once they won the Olympics, Barcelona was always on the map as a major international city in Spain.
And I remember
Iberia used to fly all the flights through there. The whole thing was on the world map ever since and hasn't deviated, really.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, like yourself, going to Barcelona in say the 70s or 80s, but it was a really dirty city. It wasn't, it was poor and that. Yeah. But it's obviously
people used to do the Puente Aéreo and go to Barcelona for a day from Madrid and get back. There was no real appeal to it. The poor was messy. There was no real cachet about Barcelona. Post-Olympics, that changed in the world order. And most people I meet who have been to Spain, many of them have been more to Barcelona than Madrid, even though Madrid is the capital. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Madrid is actually unknown, even though the access is equal. It just doesn't hit the radar.
Yeah. There's a luster appeal about Barcelona, and that the Olympics was transformational. Like it really, it was a before and after. And one of the few Olympics, I believe, that, it wasn't a loss-making venture. It was worth doing it. As you say, put Barcelona on the map.
Yeah, they use a lot of infrastructure that was already there in a funny way. And being Irish in Barcelona, Toronto, San Francisco, Edinburgh, how does that differ? Does it differ? Is it the same thing?
Yeah, I suppose I would differ in, like Edinburgh, it's obviously we're fellow Celts, so
it's kind of a given.
It's a brotherhood there. When I was in San Francisco, I was living in a kind of Irish ghetto, drinking in the Irish bar, every night. So you were living in a kind of bubble. Obviously being Irish in America is a big advantage. And then Toronto was amazing for me to be Irish there. I was the only Irish guy in the world I was living in, both socially. I went over there because I'd been living with two Canadian guys in university, and so all my friends were Canadians from Ontario, and then my work situations, I was the only Irish there, so it was fantastic. I mean, people just love the Irish wherever you go, and here in Spain it's magic. Like in work terms, I really notice that, like, Spain is a big country, relative to Ireland. It's 50 odd million and huge landmass. But I get tremendous access for kind of two reasons I've noticed. Number one is I'm from the English speaking world. I think Spanish people have great regard for people from Northern Europe, like Germany, France, England. They really look up to them. They have a slight inferiority complex. And I'm Irish, so I'm kind of bunched in with the British and that, but which I don't mind because it works for me.
It works,
But then, secondly, when I do get introduced to people, I'm Irish, and this is a big novelty. They're not used to meeting Irish people, so they remember you. So I get great access as a result, a lot better than I would relatively speaking, in Ireland, you know. So it really works for me being Irish. It's the best passport in the world, in my experience, you know.
Yeah. There's something Irish people abroad, having lived myself abroad in the States and Spain and different places, there's something about the way we comport ourselves that the people are receptive to. And I don't know, what is it, our character? Is it I don't know, there's something, the way they react to us, it's engaging automatically. Even though we might be funny or intend to be funny, they're just very receptive.
I think it's self-fulfilling. I noticed this just in my own personal experience. In Canada, you kind of play out to the stereotype, or you become more gregarious because people expect you to be gregarious. But I think my wife, being Venezuelan, would be a good judge. She just loves the Irish people because they're so warm, and she would have a problem here in Catalonia. The Catalans are very reserved, and it drives her crazy.
You speak Catalan, do you?
Oh, I don't speak Catalan. I speak Spanish, all right.
But do you get they used to exclude people, but especially if you came from outside, and go into Catalan a bit like French people did in Paris, and then apologise. And that makes it hard to have empathy towards them, because initially they don't mean to be rude. They come across as rude.
Yeah, they're very
insular, aren't they?
Extremely. It's baffling. Like, because if you meet somebody from Andalusia, within 5 minutes, they'll be your best friend. Yeah. They're incredible. They're amazing.
Somos amigos.
Yeah. But the Catalans, I think they're like Swiss. They're just like you. It's well said. You could know them, and I know this from experience. You could know them 20, 25 years, and they'll never invite you into your.
They're more Northern European, even though they're Southern European location. They're more restrained, quiet, withdrawn. They don't immediately open themselves up. If you don't speak Catalan, you feel excluded, and works both ways.
Yeah, and they stick together. You know, the Madrileños, it's chaotic city. It's blow-ins and stuff, but the Catalans, they're all to do with the abuelo, and everything is handed down generation to generation. They marry each other. It's really kind of closed off. So, I mean, obviously, look, when you get to know people one-on-one, people are people the world over. So, they're amazing once you get to know them. But my wife struggles like with them, because she's Caribbean, like she's
South American. I was in Cartagena in January, and the most fantastic place I've been in all my life, I have to say. I thought it was fantastic, and the whole Caribbean nature of people's personality, the openness, is incredible.
They're so exuberant.
Yeah, exuberant.
I can go into a cafe here and I'll immediately know if it's staff or South American or Catalan. Just from 1,000 yards. They're just lovely. The South Americans are so simpatico.
Resilience, is that something is that an Irish narrative? Is something that we have innately? Have you experienced it, Richard, yourself?
Yeah. Resilience is it's such a big word. Like
it's overused nowadays, but it means different things to different people. There's something it's trying to get at.
Business is booming, but you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think spreadsheets were just part of it. Ugh. But real-time cash flow? Wow. Invoices that chase themselves? Even better. Books that automate? That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No spreadsheet in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.
Disordered eating messaging is all around us. You can hardly leave your house or check your phone without seeing something about dieting, weight loss, or exercise. With all that pressure, it can be hard to recognize habits have become harmful or even an eating disorder. If you're concerned you or a loved one might have an eating disorder, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors. And you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
Yeah. As a Clare man, he must be resilient.
Yeah, I did. The first book I did was with the wonderful title Where Clare Leads, Ireland Follows.
You interviewed some fabulous people in that.
Yeah. The reason I mentioned it is a book of profiles of famous Clare people. Yeah. But I remember, I think it was Liam Griffin was saying to me, he was a Wexford hurling manager in the 90s, a great GA man. He was saying they're tough, hardy people in Clare, like it must come from the burn, the landscape there. But tying resilience and national identity, it's because I don't know. What I do know is, I think, and it goes back to what we were saying about the Irish warmth and the humour. I think the Irish people have a great sense of humour, great gallows humour. They can laugh at themselves easily, and I think that's a fantastic armour, and they don't take themselves too seriously. And when you need, in tough times, to be resilient, I think it helps if you have a sense of humour. And I remember only recently I interviewed Aidan Dooley. He's an actor, and you might know it. He's been doing a one-man show for the last 25 years on Tom Crean.
Yeah,
the Antarctic explorer. Yeah. Do you know the play I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if you've seen it. I saw it myself about 20 years ago. It's an amazing play. It's hilarious. But I was asking him about Tom Crean, because Tom Crean endured 3 polar expeditions. He was on Scott's one. He was one of the last people to see Scott alive. And then obviously he went to his last one was with Shackleton. And most people know the guts of the Shackleton story, extraordinary survival saga. But I was asking Aidan Dooley, because he's obviously an expert on Tom Crean, and what was it about this guy, how did he survive these harsh conditions? And he's just an extraordinary thick skin to have survived. And he was saying he was just had a kind of an optimistic or a happy disposition. There was, the photos of him and on those polar expeditions, you see him, and even before they headed off, and he's got this smiley, happy face on him. And the other adventurers in the photos are, Victorians or Edwardians, and they're looking really glum and stoic. And he met Aidan Dooley, this actor, met his daughters. Tom Crean had 2 daughters, and they said he was just a kind of happy-go-lucky guy. And that, obviously stood to him. That disposition he had, that it was helpful to him enduring all those harsh conditions and surviving. I think there's something in that.
Yeah, so I think it's more than that's an individual case. It's more than a narrative. I think we do as a people, through our history or whatever we want to analyse, the ability to bounce back and deal with situations as rough as they are with either humour, be it gallows humour, or try and look at the positive or the way out, whereas other people get introspective. Now, we are introspective and we get our music and all that, but it's very interesting how people who travel abroad experience an Irishness that's different if you lived still in Ennis. Richard?
Yeah, definitely. It just gives you a different perspective, and I think you're onto something there.
You think? I hope so. And have you got any iconic moments, selfish moments, where you're very amazed at what you achieved, or you said well done, or you more quiet, just get on with it? Say if you got the Booker Prize tomorrow, you say, hey, well done, and move on. Is it an Irish thing you under-celebrate, over-celebrate successes?
I think it's struggle, like most Irish people, in blowing their own trumpet. I think it doesn't come easily.
We're afraid we're going to be slagged, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Raise your head above the parapet. Like I have to, for books now, this 3rd book I have out, especially now, the last book I had brought out was about 12 years ago. Social media is such a huge thing now, and you need to do all this self-promotion, and that doesn't come easily to me. But you need to get the word out. So like my mother, it's burnt into me, self-praise is no praise. That kind of attitude. So yeah, that can be tricky, all right.
Yeah. Where do you see the struggle between Real Madrid and Barcelona now? I think Barcelona, in my view, are winning at the moment, aren't they? Clearly.
Yeah, they are in footballing terms. It's great. I like it. It's daggers
drawn. Have you been to the new Nou Camp? Have you?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I'd go there regularly. It just reopened there in November. I think it was.
The full tiers aren't open yet, are they?
No, it's at 62,000 capacity, so it'll be up to 105 when it's finished. They'll have most of it done by the end of this calendar year. It'll be up to about 80, or I think by the end of next season, it'll be the full 100,000, and then they're going to, or 105, and then they close it for another 6 months to do the roof.
All right.
But the Clásico rivalry is fantastic. For a couple of years there, it was very quiet because they were brothers in arms in the whole European Super League adventure. Or misadventure. So, but now they're absolutely at each other's throats, which as a neutral is good. It's good for drama and stuff. My time was just known as the Derby. The Clásico was a marketing thing that arrived through Sky Sports or whatever. The Clásico was ripped off from Argentina. I don't know, but it was just a classic with an opera at the end for Sky Sports. In my view, because in my time it was just El Derby. I know, I absolutely struggled with that because the second book I wrote was called El Clásico. It's a book on the rivalry, and I didn't know what to call the book. And everybody I interviewed, I asked, so what do you call the rivalry? Is this like an Anglo construct, the El Clásico? And at that time, people said, we call it Madrid-Barca or Barca-Madrid, and they take away the Real. That's what the rivalry was known as. But El Clásico was one of the terms that was kind of interchangeable, and it just has such a good resonance. I went with that. But now, everybody just knows it as the Clásico, and in a way to distinguish, they talk about the Super Clásico for the Boca Juniors River Plate rivalry. But it's a semantics thing, I guess. Yeah,
it's an amazing club. I mean, my time was Cruyff and Neisky and Mario Mourinho and those guys, and they were the imports that Madrid couldn't get their hands on.
Yeah, it was amazing. Florentino, who was the president now of Real Madrid, going back to 2000, when he came in, he complained. He was there, why are Barca getting all the Galacticos? You mentioned Cruyff in the 70s, Maradona in the 80s, Romario, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, or not, Ronaldo, the Brazilian. So they were getting all of them at that stage up through the 90s. And he said, this has to change. I mean, Real Madrid's luster comes from the team of Alfredo Di Stefano and Didi and Puskás. And
Di Stefano himself was supposed to do a few years of Madrid and a few years of Barcelona. Yeah. And then they sold him out. Barcelona couldn't deal with him going there. So they sold their interest to Madrid, and he stayed in Madrid.
I know, they were stupid and they cut off their nose to spite their face. I mean,
but you know what the rivalry is like. When Figo went, when Schuster went, when Lau. I mean, when you make that move, your life is totally changed. Pigs' heads on the pitch. You know the stories. It's just a lethal combination, and it's unforgivable.
Especially if you go from Barcelona to Madrid. Figo, I mean, he's still not welcome back in the city. Yeah. I interviewed him for that Clásico book, and his wife, who met just by chance that day, she's a Swedish model. She had a Japanese restaurant in the city, a sushi restaurant, and that was stoned. All the windows were broken in it. Yeah, she had to shut it up, close it up. And Figo came back in 2008, and he got the Prime Minister of Portugal to intervene and try and broker a peace treaty with Barca, so he could come back to the club, not without any rancor. And Laporta, who's still the president of Barca, said Figo is welcome back when he apologises to the Barca fan base for lying to us over the transfer saga in 2000. Figo wouldn't make that apology, so so he's not welcome. He was actually back here for the Champions League game, Paris Saint-Germain and Barca back in the autumn, and it was up in Mount Juic in the
old
the old stadium, the Olympic Stadium, and yeah, you can imagine he was booed roundly during the game. So yeah, he's one of the great hate figures in the rivalry.
Who said football's only a game?
Yeah. He did a very funny advertising campaign that time. He moved to Real Madrid with one of the banks here in Spain. The tagline was "Change is always good," or "Change is always good." Yeah, if it's for the better. Or that didn't endear. Imagine
that wouldn't go down well.
No.
Music, Richard, is that, as a Clare man, there must be some tune to rattle around your head and take you home.
Oh God, yeah. Big Clanksty fan and love traditional Irish music. I love the new wave now of Lancome and Lisa O'Neill. My wife as well is huge. We saw Lisa O'Neill at Vicar Street at Christmas time. So I love all kinds of music, but love English kind of Manchester scene, Joy Division, The Smiths, all those kind of bands from the 80s as well. But and Van Morrison, pound for pound, would be my favourite artist. He's just a genius. So adore music.
And no Catalan bands.
Gosh, no, I'm not a fan of Spanish music now. Yeah, I don't want to get into trouble. But yeah, not a fan of Spanish music. I like South American music, all right. It's got good rhythm, but yeah, the Spanish pop music that you hear in the radios here is terrible. Yeah.
Just one that Principales or something like
that. yeah.
And is there any particular song that you've turned to in your good times, bad times? I mean, you're still young enough where your life is just hunky-dory, nothing has gone missing or wrong. So it's very different. But you do Kamalia songs, or you do rock songs when you're having a bad day at the PC?
Yeah, I would. For writing, for working, I actually listen to dance music because it gets the blood up. I love, just I like. I think of Van Morrison's Caravan from, I think it's Moondance. Yeah, that track. I always thought I'd love to have it played at my funeral. It's just a really upbeat, exuberant, happy track. There's not a particular kind of music. We're both going to see, Michelle and myself, we're going to see Morrissey now in the summer here, which is great. I'm a big Smiths fan, and I often think of his line, punctured bicycle on a hillside desolate, will nature make a man of me yet? Just for dealing with hardship, and that you coming back to our chat about humour, and you just need to make light of things. Van Morrison would be my go-to, I think, just for his music is just extraordinary. Particularly Astral Weeks, the early stuff. There's nothing in my world to beat Van Morrison.
Sir Ivan, you mean?
Got to see him again there last summer playing with Neil Young, another favourite in Fitzpatrick.
Neil Young's 80 this week, I think.
Is it this week? Yeah,
it's around about now. It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, he was my start. I remember hearing Heart of Gold in Madrid. Yeah. I lived beside the Bernabeu in Cayorense. An old man, I heard that, the first song I heard. And that's, wow. I must have been...
Business is booming. But you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think unpaid bills were just part of it. Ugh. But batch payments? Wow. Automated accounts payable? Even better. All in one place. That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No bills in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.
Disordered eating messaging is all around us. You can hardly leave your house or check your phone without seeing something about dieting, weight loss, or exercise. With all that pressure, it can be hard to recognize habits have become harmful or even an eating disorder. If you're concerned you or a loved one might have an eating disorder, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors. And you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
It could have been 12, 10.
Yeah.
And I think he's still going. It's amazing.
Oh, he is. Yeah. So luckily got to see him twice last year in Toronto as well. He's just a powerhouse. He's amazing. Like, I hope he's okay, because he was supposed to come to Europe again this year, but he cancelled that European tour.
Yeah.
But Neil Young is extraordinary. He's just he's a warrior.
Are you surprised where you've got to, Richard? When you look back to the young fella in Ennis?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I would never have thought I'd write and publish books. At that aspect, I never had that and never dreamed about that. So that just kind of one thing led to another. So I am surprised as well, to be honest, to be living in Barcelona. I mean, you could just never tell. It's sliding doors moments. I think life just takes you different directions, and that I would have always presumed I'd end up, I don't know, living in Ireland, certainly. But I was always keen to travel once I got out of school. Like, I was mad for road. But I didn't kind of plan things. I just followed my nose, and let the wind take me wherever.
Yeah, and these book advances are great, aren't they? I mean, 15 million I heard Britney Spears got. So I mean, life is good.
Yeah. Won't be retired on the book advances, I can tell you. The translations are cherry on the pie, all right. Look,
the Costco's work well for you, hasn't it? Translated as a go-to book for people who want to talk about that rivalry.
Yeah. That was an amazing success. Like, I got several translations, and huge sales in book terms, like 6,000 or 7,000 in Poland alone, which only 5% of books would sell more than 5,000 copies. So that was a huge bestseller. So that was a great success. But a lot.
And how's HH going for you?
It's going very well. Yeah, so far now. Thank God. Like, because it's a niche topic, and you never know with books. They could just whether they'll take flight or not. But it's a very good story, and there's a big market in football for football books. It's a good story. It's about the first white death, the first death from doping, alleged doping.
See, I didn't know that part of him.
Yeah, I didn't know it myself until I was here 5 or 6 years. I obviously knew within a few months of living here about HH, because he's a huge figure in Barcelona.
He is, yeah.
He went. His greatest success was in Italy in the 60s with Grand Inter. Yeah, won back-to-back European Cups in the mid 60s, and then his Waterloo was that Inter side lost to Celtic in the 67 European Cup final. But the following year he went on to Roma, and in 69 one of his players died from in a dressing room in Cagliari from alleged doping. So the book concludes with it's threaded through with investigation of HH's doping. He systematically doped the Barca team in the late 50s. He introduced doping to Spain, and then in the 60s in Italy it was rampant, and he upped it a level there, and then
there was a showdown with Ladislao Kubala, which brought his comeuppance, wasn't it, in Barcelona?
In Barcelona, yeah, totally. And
Kubala went on to train Spain and play for Spain.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, coached Barca as well. He didn't have any success there, but they were two titanic personalities. Like, Kubala is the biggest personality in Barca's history in the 20th century. A huge figure here. They more or less kind of built the Camp Nou to accommodate him. The old stadium, there used to be 5,000 people locked outside. They couldn't find room to let everybody in to see him. He was just a huge figure, and they clashed, and he had great success with Barca, but he could see the writing on the wall, so he got out, and he'd lined up an exit strategy. So I'd signed mid-season in his last season to move to Inter in the summer of 1960, and went off to the land of the Lira.
Yeah. Tell us, was the 1968 Eurovision rigged by Franco?
Yeah, that was.
I was there at the time. We believed the truth that Maciel won fair and square.
Oh, I love that lady. Yeah, she was great fun. So yeah, the first radio documentary I did, I think it was 2014. It was investigating it was a rumor I had heard that Franco had rigged the 19.
I can't believe that
Eurovision Song Contest. From the evidence I digged up, he did. I interviewed 2 record executives from who actually were living here in Barcelona at the time, and they told me the story that at the time the voting was done through the kind of radio stations and so they went around, Spanish executives from radio companies went around bribing the juries in different countries, so Maciel could win. She defeated the most famous Eurovision
by
song
1 point on home territory.
In London, beat England. Cliff Richards, congratulations. Co-written by our very own Phil Coulter, who
I didn't know that, so I read about it.
Yeah, great guy. I interviewed him I've interviewed him many times over the years. A great guy, big football nut. He's mad into Derry City. But he co-wrote that song. He had did he write Sandy Shaw's Puppet on a String?
Yes, he was involved in that. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, as well. Maciel pipped in a very dramatic countdown. She pipped Cliff Richard, and the Spain got to host the Eurovision the following year. It was at the time the Franco regime were ostracized in Europe, so it was a kind of it was a propaganda play by the Franco regime, or that's what the evidence suggests.
Yeah.
So it was a great story to work on.
And then we won it 2 years later in 70, wasn't it?
That's right, with Dana. Yeah. I think actually Phil Coulter was involved in producing that song, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's the Midas touch with the Eurovision.
But some of Franco's ashes, we believe, were under the Bernabeu before Florentino redid it. That's how we used to win all those European Cup games.
Yeah.
That's Madrid's strength. Franco built that club for us, white Blancos, and he was there guiding us all through the years.
Yeah, with cement.
Until this year we were let down badly.
Yeah, the wheels have come off this season, that's for sure.
No, it was his club, and that was the whole, in my time, those derbies in Madrid, when Cruyff and Neeskens used to come down and play against Breitner and Netzer, they were huge political platforms that just carried over from the Franquista era. Madrid was the club of the country.
Oh yeah, I'd give it anything to have been at those games.
They were classic. I mean, they were classics. Excuse the pun. They were classics. You know what I mean? The atmosphere, the tension, the referee's life wasn't worth it. I think most refs had to leave the country after those games.
Yeah. Oh, it's visceral. Like the most enjoyable aspect I had doing that Classico book was investigating the hooligan element of the rivalry, and particularly in the 80s. And met hooligans from that time, and they had great war stories about the Classicos. And but by the time I got here in 2010, it's just full of tourists. The local fans are priced out of the
I was there last season. And what I found is when I used to go over the years, used to be socios who knew about the game. We'd have our peeps together and talk about the good old days and Puro Juanito, ¿Qué pasó? And now you go and you sit beside 15-year-olds waving souvenir bags who've just left the shop, and it's a totally different experience watching the game. They're not entering the game, Richard.
Yeah.
They're just looking at the whole spectacle.
Oh yeah, it's so flat in comparison. Like if you can get a nighttime game, it will be there under floodlights, and that will add to it. But I've been to another factor as well, as I've been every year that one of the Classicos will be on at like 12 in the day, or 1 for TV reasons for Asia and stuff, and it's soul destroying. Like, because just the atmosphere is so flat in there. Obviously great players on the pitch, and the Classicos luckily are always good games. You've goals in them. It's very rare. There's the only 0-0 draws were in 2019, I think it was, and 2003 or 2004, Beckham's debut in a Classico. So the games are always fantastic, really attacking, but just the atmosphere in the stands is not what it would have been when you were going as a young fella in the 70s.
And last question, if I came to you as a young fella and said I want to get into journalism, what's the route? Should I do it? What would you say to them?
Gosh, that's a good question. I think now it's different to when I was there. As in, this an advantage. You can get, you could set up your own kind of blog and write, and at least you don't need to get in the door to a newspaper. You can build up a portfolio and show your content or your ability. I'd say just go to journalism school would be one way that would get you an internship and get your leg in the door. Would try your local paper, get a summer job, or get experience and get in there. It's not that difficult. The technical, the nuts and bolts of the job, but it's just getting experience. And I think with most professions, it's a rite of passage that you will work for free at the start. So be prepared for that. It's a tough job, tough to make a living out of it, but if you can make it work, it's I love it. Like it's a dream job. Just being able to work on stories that are interesting for you. It's nothing beats it. And my great pleasure in the job is doing interviews. I just love talking to great minds or about particular stories, asking them about stories and how they happened and that. So just try and get experience, and I think there is a route in via journalism school, a lot of the courses now and stuff available, so that would be an obvious route, I think.
Good. Richard Fitzpatrick, thank you for joining us today on Aran Island Discs.
Absolute pleasure, Rasa. Thanks.
Business is booming, but you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think unpaid bills were just part of it. Ugh. But batch payments? Wow. Automated accounts payable? Even better. All in one place. That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No bills in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of drumsticks, setting the tempo for change. In the 60s, Stax Records in Memphis defied segregation with multicultural bands like Booker T and the MGs, proving soul music could move more than feet. This is one of many sounds in Tennessee with a story to tell. To hear them in person, plan your trip at tnvacation.com. Tennessee sounds perfect.
Welcome to the Score Bet, where betting on game day is made easier with all the promos and player props you need in a seamless and easy-to-use experience. Whether it's home runs, three-pointers, or shots on goal, there's no better place to own the moment. Right now, new players can get their first bet insured up to $1,000 in bonus bets. More action, more rewards, more for you. The Score Bet. Download the app today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.